A rabbinic friend, Brad Artson, once pointed out to me that you never know the name of the time period you're living through until someone decides that the period is over. The one thing they didn't have, for instance, in the biblical period was a Bible. Once they had a Bible, then the biblical period was over. But who knew when they were living through it? Nobody woke up in the late Roman Empire and said to their spouse, "Honey, you know, I was feeling late antiquity last night, but this morning it's definitely feeling like early medieval." Only God knows what historians will call this period of time we're all living through right now. But what's clear, over 70 days since COVID-19 first struck the United States, is that moments of connection are essential for human beings to survive. The way people are finding any way to connect confirms this, including relating to this week's holidays in Jewish time, which move like COVID-19 from sorrow to, hopefully for all of us, freedom. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is Yom HaZikaron, Israel's Memorial Day, and Wednesday is Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel Independence Day, 72 years. The idea behind this week is that we must be reminded of the sacrifice made by so many before we even deserve to celebrate our freedom. Like the nightly thank yous for health professionals fighting COVID-19, this is an emotional week in Israel because after a full day of grief and remembrance touching every Israeli family in some way, the mood then shifts somehow from sorrow to a joyous celebration of independence. Israel, like America, is very far from perfect. In addition to the tremendous loss of human life on both sides of the Arab-Israeli conflict, Israelis are the first to admit her shortcomings. In fact, I, like every other Israeli, Hanan Sidor writes, can name off the top of my head a whole list of things I don't like about my country, but none of these things will ever make me doubt my love for my country despite her flaws. Isn't that the truth for us Americans, no matter who and what is wrong with our country? A tradition in Israel during tomorrow's Memorial Day is to keep the TV on a special channel that for 24 hours shows nothing but the names of all the soldiers and victims of terror who have died since 1948, Israel's birth. This Jewish act is a reminder for each citizen that every person matters, that everyone has a name and had an entire life to go with it, a whole universe that was lost in a tragic way. I want to close sharing with you one such person's memoir, Eldad Ron, a 20-year-old killed in Israel's 1948 War of Independence. He wrote these words from his bunker before dying in battle. Lately, I've been thinking about what the goal of life should be. At best, human life is short, he writes. The years of life do not satisfy the hunger for life. What then shall we do during this time? We can reach either of two conclusions. The first is that since life is so short, we should enjoy it as much as possible. The second is that precisely because life is short, we should dedicate life to something larger, to a sacred and worthy goal. I am slowly coming to the conclusion, he writes before he's killed, that life by itself is worth little unless it serves something greater than itself. The quest to which Eldad points is urgent and ultimate right now. How are we using the life God has given us today, no matter what our age, condition, or country. The way we answer this question will determine the very nature of our lives, the substance of our lives. Our challenge during these difficult days is not to use any day given to us mindlessly, carelessly, or selfishly, but instead to make the most of every minute we have in this lifetime, one day at a time. Remember those who died tomorrow, then celebrate your free life the day after. That's this week in Jewish time. For more of these talks, go to timemphis.org/media and have a great week.